Joe, very interesting game this week. Indiana with potentially Curtis Rourke being back this week. Indiana takes on Michigan State. How do you see this one playing out?
Is there an update on that he could be playing, or is it Taven Jackson? Or it sounds like it's just kind of trying to mess with Michigan State. I saw that Fable said that there was an update that he was throwing. Let's assume for the sake of this conversation, with the day that we're taping this on, it's a little too early that Taven Jackson starts. But with that in mind, Blake.
Well, just for clarity, Pete Thamel reporting, Curtis Rourke has been throwing the past couple of days, and there is growing optimism that he can play Saturday versus Michigan State. That's where I saw it from.
Okay. That was what I thought I saw as well, too. I feel like it's still vague enough that it opens the door for Taven Jackson to play. And frankly, I'm not worried. I have felt so good watching this Indiana team. And I said this last week that I thought that they were going to cover. I thought they were going to win confidently because they were playing at home. I don't think there's any reason to worry. I don't know if I jump on the blowout ship yet again. But this Indiana team, I keep repeating myself. They run the ball so well. Their run defense is phenomenal. Their pass rush is phenomenal. Michael Kamara has been super disruptive. 10 tackles for loss, 7 sacks this season. Michigan State, on the other hand, while they keep showing a couple little bits here and there, Aiden Childs makes some nice plays. Nick Marsh, the young receiver, makes some nice plays. They're still not there yet. We put them into the oven. They've been cooking, and they're like 70% done. We got to wait a little bit. We got to wait a year before they really hit that true potential that they'll have next season. It's just too many young guys that are figuring their stuff out. I got to obviously stick with the Hoosiers, who have been one of my easiest picks in betting and just in general for how good they've been.
If you have a massive flaw, Kurt Cignetti and company are going to find it, and they're going to exploit it. That's what they do to everybody. It's what they've done to everybody this year. Michigan State has a massive flaw, Joe. They're 116th in the country, almost dead last in the FBS, but especially in the Power Four at getting off the field on third down.
Yeah.
They are horrible at it. It's why their defense and team, Joe, I got to be quite honest with you, it's really why they've had issues. It 100% is why they've had issues. You can't be that bad on third down, Joe, defensively. Like, I think that Childs and this offense hasn't been that bad. And as a defense as a whole, I don't think that they've been that bad. But, man, are they getting out coached on third down. It is abysmal right now. And Kurt Cignetti is not the guy that you want to go up against because, Joe, they are one of the most prolific teams on third down. We are going to continue to stay on the field and whip your ass. They find ways. They got good play calling. They've developed at a high level. I know you don't want to go blowout special here. The thing that I start questioning is when, number one, if Rourke, like, how is that thumb? You know what I mean? Like, can he grip the ball good enough? Like, I don't know. Like, there are things that would concern me. But, man, this is just not the game. Now, what I would say is Indiana going to start looking ahead. Like, when does that?
Well, I don't think that they are, and that's what's made them so good is that they've just been a week by week team, and that's why I had
an opponent like this the week before to kind of like slip up in. There's not been a game that Indiana's played that you've had an opponent that you
okay.
Like, I mean, come on, Joe. You know that what happens. We've both been in locker rooms. Like, shit, man, we're gonna go out there and beat these dudes. Then we're going on to Ohio State. You know that that's going to happen.
Yeah, they don't have Ohio State for a few more weeks, so there's still a little bit of time before they get there. And they got Michigan next week. I understand what you're saying, but they're just not the type of team right now. They haven't been playing that way. That's why they're winning so confidently and they're blowing everybody out. They haven't shown us a sign of weakness. Their only sign of weakness has been the fact that Curtis Rourke is hurt right now. I think to what you were bringing up earlier, I wouldn't rush him back. Like, I would wait till the following week.
Taven can be in there and they still wins, what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, Taven Jackson had a strong game. I know he threw a pick, 11 for 19, 124 yards, but they ran the ball so well that they didn't need to really worry about anything. And then this Michigan State defense is fine, but that front is not slowing down this Indiana rushing attack enough to completely take it out of the game, or Taven Jackson has to win it through the air. Mm-hmm. I kind of agree with what you're saying with the blowout stuff. This is a spot where Indiana should kill them unless they are not focused. And I don't think Cignetti's that type of coach to allow his team to get distracted.
Here's what I'd say though.
Actually, wait, here's a good example. I didn't mean to cut you off, but having played this freaking guy and us being the trap game. Yes, I'm going to keep bringing this up. Having been the trap game for them, they didn't care. The 2 years that he was there, we were 6-5. One of the years we were almost a playoff team, and then the year but we were really bad one of the years that he was there. My point is that there were plenty of reasons we were just as comparably bad as Michigan State. They didn't care. They just showed up and kicked their ass and left. That was it.
I get what you're saying. I understand.
First-hand experience.
Let me push back on one thing. The secondary for Michigan State actually hadn't been that bad. When you go and look at it, I mean, the 28th in the country.
They got some playmakers out there in their secondary. Yeah,
they got some playmakers. Where they've been leakies in the running game. Yeah, okay? And look. Indiana's just not the team. They'll keep lining up and running right at you. They're big, physical. They get after you. I mean, yeah, I just think that one guy is in a better situation than what, both of these guys are first-year head coaches. But let me get you back to the law of averages really quickly. Joe, just because it doesn't happen to Kurt Cignetti doesn't mean it doesn't happen all around college football every given year with a first-year head coach. Because it does. And let me tell you, it hadn't happened to Mike Elko yet other than the very first game of the year, but that's a little bit different when we look at it now. These teams historically in year one, I mean, at some point they're going to falter in something. So at some point something's going to happen. And when is it going to happen? Joe, the chalk is the chalk in college football for a reason. Okay? Because we go through these goofy seasons and all of a sudden something happens and we're like, wait, Indiana, they start off the season 10-0. They're 10-2 now? What happened? I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but it has historically happened around college football for the entire existence.
If they slip up, it's going to be against Michigan. I'm sorry, Indiana fans. I don't think you beat Ohio State. If they slip up, it's against Michigan.
If you would have told them they were in the bowl game this year, they probably would have been happy. Now that they're potentially going to be in a bowl playoff game.
I do have high school buddies who are Indiana fans, and they
go ahead.
I was just going to say that they do think that they have that same perspective. I had friends who were texting me at the beginning of the season, and they were like, "Oh, do you think we can finish and make a bowl game?" I'm like, "Yeah, you guys are playing great." There was no expectation that they'd be a playoff team.
Not only are they likely going to be a playoff team, there's a strong possibility that they're hosting a playoff game at home.
I'm rooting for it, man. I'm rooting for it. I hope that happens.
They're 11 Joe, if they're 11-1, they are hosting a playoff game at home. I mean, how else would they not?
Well, no, that's very true.
They're going to be in the top 8, bro. If they go 11-1, they're going to be a top 8 football team.
I want to. Wait, what's their last game of the season? Really quickly before we move. Oh, they play Purdue at the end of the year. Yeah. Oh, 11-1 is so on the table for them.
I know.
BetOnline remains your top spot for all of your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, NHL are all in full swing. BetOnline is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to BetOnline today and use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for 50% off your first deposit. That is a 50% welcome bonus. BetOnline, where the game starts.